narrating.
Yeah.
Fine, let me know when you're ready.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm never ready, but okay.
I am clicking the Porrim button. This is volume 4. Do you know what I am?
Yeah.
Clicking the
All right. Cool
button.
beans.
You're the only being in the universe who could fuck up a simple stroll around the block. Well, maybe it was more than a block. You've been so busy being an enabling angel on your new friend's shoulders that you haven't yet to find an opportunity to process the world around you, to decompress. You hadn't meant to go far into the neighboring woods, and you thought you would only get a good mile in before you planned to head back. You just figured stretching the shapely gams never hurt, and neither did witnessing the expanse of this planet's surrounding ecosystems. As such, you left Arania's place momentarily to breathe in some good old-fashioned air. It's a good way to clear your head, too, helping runaway princesses, providing taxing emotional support, homework. Sometimes it's nice to stop and smell the roses. However, luck would have that the tree you've leaned on for a moment's rest doesn't seem fond of any close-range sniffing of its brushy limbs. Something prehensile and prickly slithers across your arm like a snake, burning as it pierces through your sleeve. Helping, you dislodge yourself by falling ass first as the hoodie rips and bolt up to immediately flee. The pricks on your forearm burn as you hurry back whence you came. Did that fine move without a breeze? Now that you think about it, a lot of things seem to move in this forest foliage. Stems pulse, vegetation shudders, and there is not an ounce of wind to justify the low hissing in the air. You hurry past a giant Venus flytrap. It's frightfully silly. You heard that plants could breathe and grass could scream, but it better not start singing at you. The upturned prongs of its mouth and the predatory curl of its leaves are already a lot. At least, you think they were curling? The pain in your arm is accompanied by a dizziness in your vision. Fuck, this is concerning. Alien ivy is different enough to not be poisonous, right? Actually, you could say the same for any ivy. Venom and poison are not the same thing. Duh. The state of wonder your mind is tossed into is dizzying. Or maybe you're just flat out fucking dizzy. This may be another golden opportunity to choose whether or not you end up dying like a loser out here. It would take too long to keep going, judging by the dull throb in your arm and how you're starting to feel sluggish. Your legs, despite being sturdy as hell to get you here, feel like they're sinking in mud. Curiosity always seems to be your largest liability. And what should we do? Extract the venom or teleport back for help?
Methinks we could try extracting the venom.
I think we should listen to the person that wrote the route. Extract the venom. You saw this in a movie once. Befriendus is just another Wild West of misadventures and dealing with the elements. If you want to avoid getting owned, you have to think fast and draw. Crouching over yourself, it's an oral harmony of slurping and spitting as you attempt to suck out the poison. Wait, venom? Hell, it really doesn't matter. It's not like the thing had teeth, and as the saying goes, if you touch it, it's poisonous. If it touches you, a venomous ivy? If the tree hugger becomes the tree huggy in a forest, and no one is around to witness such a toxic exchange, did it bite you? Damn, that's mind-boggling. Your mind is officially boggled. Wait, you have some better bastardized quotes for this. The burn means it's working. Success has never tasted sweeter. Though that could just be you. Oh god. Alright.
There are no motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane, apparently.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta skip back to the choice.
Oh, fuck me.
MSPA would be like that.
No, I didn't say it, but it's easy to get back there.
Probably should have done credits at some point in the stream. I'll do it at the end.
Yeah. Let me know when you're back at the choice.
I am.
Alright, teleport
same.
back for help. With your woozy concentration, you focus as hard as you can and close your eyes, choosing to teleport back. Or at least you hoped. Instead of the familiarity of asphalt, you're standing in grass, having succeeded in space hopping deeper into the forest's bowels. Okay, trying to use your powers with toxins swimming through you was probably the worst decision. In fact, it's only made you more nauseated. As you slouch down, the bed of grass only tempts you to close your eyes as the energy further depletes from your veins. Fuck. This isn't good. You concentrate on your breathing, sparkling black dancing at the corners of your vision. Damn it. Maybe you should have just waited for Arania's return back at the hive. As you feel yourself losing consciousness, you think a figure that you hadn't seen before growing near. The moonlit sky above blankets it with a dark silhouette, but you can only stare as it approaches, the nocturnal glint of eyes stilling your blood further. Hell, are you seriously about to get eaten by some kind of Befriend cryptid in the midst of a poisoning? That's embarrassing. You don't have time to let out more than a pitiful groan of fear before your body sulks. Everything goes black.
Da, da, da.
When you wake up, you're not dead. You know the feeling well by this point. Though you aren't greeted by a ceiling of trees, you're seeing stars in the most literal sense above you. Fuck. Did you fall into some kind of spatial purgatory again? No. Space is usually a floating emptiness and not a hard ground against your back. You spot a patch of light and hear a tapping that tells you that your hunch is wrong. Turning your head, you have two reactions. At first, you assume that whatever creature found you before you passed out had dragged you in here to save your death's dignity in the form of a feast. A pity platter. The second reaction is realization. When you recognize the shape of troll horns, a bipedal hunch, and tapping that resembles frantic typing. What? Or rather, who, actually? You lean up quietly, not wanting to draw attention to yourself just yet. But the jelly in your arms causes you to fall back with an obnoxious thump and yelp against the dirt. You hope that didn't startle them. The jade blood jumps and swerves to face you, startled. If trolls had retractable claws, hers would be unsheathed, but her expression falters upon discovering it was just the whelp she had dragged in earlier. The reaction was more skittish than aggressive, you notice, and she quickly shields herself with a stoic aura, clearing her throat.
Hello, you. You're finally awake. Not to coddle, but are you alright?
Who is she?
Who are you?
The suspicion in her voice could cut through glass, and you quickly tell her your name, a little dumbfounded by the whiplash as she nods.
Thanks. My name is Porrim. I personally don't know you, so getting your identity first makes us a little more balanced. Also, teleporting in front of my spot and promptly passing out didn't help with the ambiguity. Though I only dragged you in so you wouldn't... Oh god, we had a little bit of a typo there. That's fine. So you wouldn't stir up any unwanted attention with me nearby, and not because it was a sorry sight, no. Arania did tell me you're cool, so I guess I have nothing to worry about. She can be right to an extent, sometimes.
Oh, she knows Arania. Porrim motions to the palm husk in her hand, as if reading your thoughts.
You're not from here. That is to say, not from this world. My concern is focused elsewhere, as someone who actually inhabits this planet and its problems, though I do pity your situation and the struggle that comes with being an outsider. Consider this a short stop while I have the free time, or at least until the venom stops attacking your bloodstream.
Oh yeah, you did get a pretty bite, didn't you? You happen to notice your hoodie gone, a length of gauze over your arm, and a medicine kit nearby. The limb is tender, but the tingling feels a tad different, as if something has been added on or in. Did she help you? Wait, of course she did. You didn't just happen to bandage yourself unconscious, though that would be an awesome survival ability. You give Porrim a hearty thanks. She didn't have to do all that, but it was very nice of her. Her eyes widen for a second at the gratitude, before she turns to face the cavern entrance.
Don't think too much into it. I'm not a beast. I'm only doing what I know, or what I was taught, of my own accord.
She clears her throat.
I happen to have supplies on me for medical emergencies, so I put my skills to use. It was of my own autonomy. I do what I want. That is what I am saying.
Okay. You give her a bit of a look, but don't question her about it. Instead, choosing to ask about the elephant in the room, or rather, the jade in the cave. What an interesting setup. You're sure the rent is dirt cheap, but why is she living it up in here? It's not even a cavernous cave like the ones that jades usually live in, or it looks more like she's getting ready for hibernation or trying to live like electricity isn't a short trail away.
This is a temporary setup. I'm traveling away. While I would love to have a more luxurious stay, I can't exactly be finicky about my pit stops, even if they are literal pits.
Traveling? Like, on a trip? Or not? She's scrunching her nose at your poor answer.
Okay. You've perhaps not been here for too long, but I'd at least assume that you're acquainted with caste norms and the things we're usually involved with.
Oh yeah! Jades take care of other trolls, right? The smaller ones that have multiple legs in a horrifyingly cute way. And they get to metamorph in a sticky cave with the big animals to take care of them after going through some kind of life or death trials. Okay, you're losing her.
That first half is passable. We do take care of grubs and wigglers before they're sent on their way. That is our current mandated agenda in life.
Oh yeah, you knew that too. Jades are really cut for the hard work and duties they achieve. Oh, wait. She's staring at you extra hard now. Is your face paling again, or are you just bad with assumptions?
I don't think you do know. Your thoughts seem to come from a textbook. What you think I'm cut out for is simply tailored by crooked hands.
Well, you appreciate the wordplay, but you don't think you follow. Getting the obvious isn't really your style, though you are slowly putting two and two together. Alterni and Befriendus play by different rules. Less murder, more hugs. Or like, passive-aggressive hand-holding. However, this isn't the first time, nor even the third, that you've encountered a jade outside of the caverns for a sneaky reason. Parties, conventions, bars. It usually hasn't been allowed casually. Those, at least, were fun, but Porrim seems a little worn. You notice the bags around the den's floor, and how many seem to be for more than a simple camping trip. Time for another one of your famous hunches. Is she going to run away from the caverns? In, like, a running sense. Bingo! The light bulb in your head finally flickers.
I do admit, you make it tantalizing to spill my guts to someone I just met. Then again, you don't know me, and you seem harmless and not at all intimidating. So it's not like I have much to socially defend, provided you don't snitch to someone else about this, or we'll both have our respective guts spilled.
Oh, yeah. You're totally trusty. You mean it. Frankly, you'd rather your guts stay in, even if this child didn't frighten you this much. You're also a bit curious about the alternate reality of a caste you haven't even asked many questions about before. For someone eyeing you with a constant suspicion, she sure is comfortable with the opportunity to go off, though it seems that she has plenty to say. plenty to hide if this location is anything to go by, and enough frustrations threatening to boil up. You aren't a therapist friend, or even a regular friend. Yet. But perhaps your marshmallowy contours inviting enough when it comes to venting to a stranger. Porrim stares at you for a moment more, probably to make sure she isn't about to chatter at a wall instead.
Well, if you're lending your ear, I suppose I may spoil myself with an audience.
Humming a pleased hum, she falters while gathering words, like a graduate's pregnant pause on a podium.
I warn you that I'm only sharing a fraction of what deserves to be told, and there is a lot to say. Though you did ask me. Just speak up if I go a bit fast.
She exhales, and you lean in to show your fullest attention as she recites what sounds like something she's practiced for. Her hands busy themselves with your hoodie and a sewing kit from one of the unpacked bags.
Jades are a cluster of rich, beautiful emeralds that guide before in society. Without them, we would lose the most important hands that lead our young ones to the beginning of life and continue the cycle of our existence. Our lovely caretakers of the mother grub and troll kind.
Her needles symphonies in the air, as if she were mimicking a voice that she did not care to remember. Seriously, before the one hand rests on her forehead.
On paper, that'd make anyone feel charmed, but one knows that those who gawk at jewels only see them as one thing at the end of the night. Accessories that benefit those who own them. Shiny objects and their usages complementing the power and ego of wealthy thrones.
The sarcasm that reaches the end of her sentence bubbles up like bile on her disgusted face. Porrim clears her throat before she continues.
Perhaps I should stop being so poetic about it. The trite thing I quoted? Notice how we don't truly stand out aside from how our helping hands are able to benefit the reproduction and preparation of those who tell us how to live our lives. CIPs take advantage of what we're able to do for them. What with our caste connection to the mother grub. Oh, you're new. That's cerulean, indigo, and purple. The only reason we aren't lower on the spectrum is because they need us to believe that we're well off enough with some kind of equal trade.
She smiles, tight and angry. You notice how tense the atmosphere is as she gets into what seems like a bad time.
It's quite revolting, really. They see our caste and think, they sure are connected to the one who keeps our system continuously flowing. Let's tell them this so they keep breeding a ratio of trolls that will continue to keep our hierarchy, and that their similarities to the Empress means there's no power play. The Empress, a woman of fine royalty, is the ruler. The mother grub, a female cavern dweller, keeps our species going. Surely this caste of women have no reason to act as if they're somehow getting the short end of the stick when they're all so respected. And as if the caste primarily of men who dominate societal law, let's tell others what they want to hear. Their authoritative capabilities are an equal trade in exchange for doing what we say.
She hisses softly, jerking her finger up as she waves at some. Oh shit. She was really going at it. Is she okay?
I'm fine, sorry. Perhaps I'm getting into one of my rants I shouldn't be playing. Perhaps when I get into one of my rants, I shouldn't be playing with sharp things so casually. Or sound like I'm prepping for an angry piece on Chitter. I sound like Cankry. He'd be so smug after accusing me of plagiarism. But yes, it's all faulty. Rancid garbage.
She clears her throat again, this time trying to search for words that don't fluster her. You wonder if she's ever actually talked to someone so thoroughly about these thoughts, or if she's practicing on someone who is willing to listen.
For one, some of us don't associate our identity with the mother grub. It's incredibly de-trollizing and debunks the entire idea that we all benefit because women run the planet, but they tend to dismiss us in multiple ways. Failed step one. Second, if we had any say in our lives, I wouldn't be here. I tried to change things from the inside, to speak on things that only so many of us dare to think. Perhaps we can educate wigglers in a supportive way, instead of teaching them that society isn't going to wait up while consistently dragging their hand, I said. Perhaps jades could live their own lives, and they aren't mandated to always stay in the caves to benefit the overrule. Maybe, just maybe, a jade's purpose isn't to live and create for others, but to live for themselves, that our connection to the mother grub belongs to us and no one else. I was then accused of thinking our entire species should be neglected and thus destroyed, or that I was trying to send wigglers a bad message for tampering with the importance, quote-unquote, of jadehood instead of being a good little hive minder. So ironically, instead of letting me in closer to my own caste, they shooed me away until I came to my senses.
She makes eye contact with you.
So I ran the fuck away instead.
You glance at the ground between the both of you, and you can tell Porrim copies you to avoid staring, lost in thought. You're certainly going with the former for yourself, though you are taking her words with seriousness. What a terrible situation. You knew that something was a bit off about the caverns from the few times you'd scuttled in, but it was different hearing it from a jade who wasn't against dissecting its societal flaws like a universal frog. Then again, that was Alternia, not Befriendus. You try to not venture too far into the thought of how Porrim's opinions would fare with someone like Branya, or how they'd potentially intersect with the rebellious nature of Dariah and Lank. Porrim's expression is suddenly awkward, the words faltering subtly.
I apologize for rambling. After waking up in a tizzy, you're not exactly to lend to another panic.
There's hesitation, but this time she looks more unsure of herself than you, as if talking off the cuff about the oppression of a systemic mothering to her medical patient wasn't as productive as it was ironic. Well, you aren't opposed to listening, even if you are comprehending her words without having much power to do anything yourself. She looks like she has more to say anyways. What though? You sit up a little straighter, so she knows you're at full attention, ignoring how your arm screams for mercy.
I'm actually a bit of a hypocrite, you know?
What?
I lied about why I dragged you in here. While yes, you could absolutely get me caught, I could have just kept moving, but I would have felt awful about leaving you there. Yeah. You were hurt and exposed to the elements. If you didn't die from injury, a drone could have found you, sometimes a fate worse than death. I figured I would have entertained the idea of someone helping me if the roles were switched. I suppose that's a fault of mine? I can never tell whether I'm acting on my own accord or if it's something embedded into my pants since I've only been taught to care. Like, I don't mind helping others in a way that works, but I don't even know if it works. If it's actually me personally saying that. I almost feel like I'm against myself for helping you. No offense.
Oh, absolutely not. And you're not just saying that because you can actually tell from down now. There's no reason to feel bad about having some basic empathy for someone, even if you don't know them. If the roles were indeed switched, you would have absolutely been more than happy to help her. Plus, you're absolutely stoked that you didn't end up decomposing off camera. Porrim gives a bit of a snort, so you take that as a small win. On the inside, you're trying to not think too hard about how fucked troll planets are, and their habit of leaving all these kids to grow up before they even... You can't imagine however much doubt Porrim has been wrestling with, but you continue to try to reassure her. Caring versus coddling has left a clusterfuck of gray areas, but if she's willing to think more about this kind of stuff than her squad, there has to be some nuance there. You think that an idea like hers can have multiple facets.
Facets, actually. Well, it's assuring that I'm possibly not talking out of my ass. That a pusher isn't a burden. I just wish things were different. with everything, really. The world would be way better if it could understand that I don't want to help others because it's my job. I do it because I choose to. A duty is different from a labor of love.
You wish you had the ability to help. In the very least, you can relate to living on a planet that decorates itself like a utopia. At least Porrim seems to have a plan. Now that you think about it, you wonder what exactly that plan is.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty simple. I stay in hiding at a friend's place while I figure out how to spread awareness. I don't do a lot of blogging, but I heard it's a great platform, keeping many eyes across the planet. Plus, a little uproar on Before Streets isn't that much of a stretch. Instead of echoing in the caves, I could raise awareness to the Empress directly about how her legislators keep abusing their powers.
It's always worth a try. Clever plotting in the right time of day. Or night. Time. Day. Night. Wait. What time is it? How long were you passed out for? Porrim blinks, looking a little surprised by the sudden question.
Oh, some hours. You were pretty out of it since I found you early in the night. It's probably close to dawn.
Oh, damn. You had no idea you were loitering for that long. She was really generous for taking time out of her schedule to nurse you back to something manageable. As much as it's been helpful, though, for either of you, it clearly has been eating up a lot of Porrim's time. She did seem like she was okay with it to a degree, and your bruised arm and heavy skull want to agree. After you leave, you aren't entirely sure how long it'll be till she meets up with one of her pals, but she also seems prepared for, well, a lot. Taking care of you puts a pause on things. It's also risky. If she's out on the run, then how long can she stay in one area? The last thing you want to do is have her discovered because you're taking advantage of her charity.
Is everything alright? Was the blog idea a little too much?
Oh, looks like she's expecting you to say something instead of staring in her general direction like a beady owl. Okay, let me save.
I'm gonna say... Yeah, same too.
Yep, what should we do?
I want to say we could, maybe leave in the morning.
Let's try leave in the morning. There's no need to burden her with your presence. Clearly, she has some things to work out, and you're merely using up her time. You tell Porrim that leaving by the morning seems to be in your best interest. A brow furrows.
Ah.
The look she gives you seems despondent, which you hadn't expected until you realize your faulty timing.
I know the idea of a mob was intimidating, though I didn't expect the idea alone was going to scare you off.
Oh, damn it. Right. She just spilled her guts to you about all this condensed drama trauma, and your first response was to say you're going to dip upon actual action. Will you never realize how much of a jackass you can come across as? You fumble a bit, trying to find words to clear the air and blame your horrible habit of inner monologues, but she talks faster.
No, it's fine. I'm sure with how you were faring before that, you'll make it without a hitch in the foreign heat. What a carefully constructed plan.
You stare at her, trying to figure out if she's being serious or not. Porrim seems to note the confusion and gives you a tired scowl.
You do know what sarcasm is, correct?
Ah. She's cross with you, huffing through her nose before she lifts herself up, her face between annoyed and crestfallen. Weary.
I'm going to search for a few more supplies for the night, so I may head out by tomorrow. I'll make sure I'm no hindrance on your time after that point.
As she walks away, she pauses before you can speak out to try to settle the miscommunication, your hand outstretched before she glances down at the rocks with uncertainty.
I'm regretful if I've come off as overbearing this dusk. Sleep well.
She passes by what seems to be your hoodie, folded neatly from before you had woken up. though the tears from your previous assault are stark and ugly. You sigh as you reach for it and get dressed back into the worn thing. Seems like you totally botched a close moment. Morning peeks through the curtain of blue-stem grass guarding the cave mouth. In the belly of Porrim's hideout, the two have been awake for only a good hour. The Jade's things packed before you were conscious. She is currently finishing up whatever assorted breakfast bar she had stored in her bag, staring at the campfire between her and you, dying. A tale of smoke and specks of heat of a phoenix flame that could have arisen anew, if prompted. You stare at it too, occasionally glancing around the cave as you slip into your hoodie again. The holes in the fabric cause a bit of a draft as the silence thickens like molasses around the two of you.
Hey. Thanks for hearing me out before. I don't really go off like that often, if my drawn-out sentences didn't give it away. I know that my views may come off as daft to those that don't know me, but you at least heard me through. That's more than I've been granted in all my sweeps. If you ever feel like it, don't be coy when it comes to talking off my hearing ducts just as much.
Oh, okay. You relax a little and give her a confident salute. That you can do. You love yapping it up, even if to just fill for time. You're glad that Porrim doesn't look mad at you anymore, though she still wears a bittersweet expression, tired, and probably ready to move on from what is basically a home for moles. She acknowledges your response with another nod before clearing her throat, anxiety momentarily diminished as she speaks unabashedly.
Are you able to stand? Walk even?
Probably not, but you can try. You do, and miraculously, you don't fall back and crack your head, even as the blood rush prompts you to lean on a wall for support. Are you good? Your hoodie is torn up, poisoned body patched up by a 6-week old, and you're blinking away spots. With a stomach that feels like it could lose itself if you flex too fast, you give her a thumbs up. She doesn't seem convinced in the slightest, but she gives a few flat sounds of laughter.
Right. Well, you do know yourself more than I do. Hopefully the odd powers you have aligned themselves?
Well, only one way to find out. Stepping back, you take a deep breath. Porrim raising her eyebrow as you choose to close your eyes. Okay, it's probably best not to overdo it. You learnt your lesson, and this time you try to stay rather close, just to see if your accuracy is working better than your vigor. Ah, fuck! False alarm! False alarm! You forgot how bright the goddamn sun is! Oh, how stupid it is to just pop into the light without adjustment from the dark, and how hot! Scrambling against the wall of the den's entrance, you cling to a spot of shade a few yards away from where you appeared, blinking and squinting. Okay, yeah. You meant to basically teleport to this general area anyways. As long as you don't end up zapping yourself off a cliff like a malnourished coyote, you should be fine. You sigh, glancing up at the sky from your shade. Trees sway habitually, a drone scans the area, and flat beasts crow overhead. Time to inform Porrim about your lucky situation. It'll probably do wonders when it comes to finding the path once more and avoiding hazard. Drone. Wait. Your heart turns to ice as the thing stalks mere trees away, its head turning to scan over the trees and shrubbery. Oh fuck. When did... Never mind. You stay as still as you can, trying to not make a sound. Eventually, you start to walk backward, not breathing, heart pounding, expertly. You avoid stepping on a branch, try to keep from alerting the drone. The whirring of danger clogs your senses so much So much so that you startle when Porrim walks up from behind you.
Hey, I...
Shh. Fuck. Porrim looks confused as hell before she peers over you, matching your expression with her own look of alarm as the drone swivels its way still back in your direction, officially fucking you over.
Oh,
Halt.
Here's where Bucky finally comes in.
Bucky gonna do a voice.
Halt.
The artificial sentry thumps closer as you two scramble back. As it inspects the beings that you have just made its cop duties an easy day, you take notice that its attention is sharply drawn to Porrim. She flinches as a light sparks from the drone's eye. You cast over her with an LED that scours her solid presence, before the light vanishes as the metallic cop gives its status update.
Scan complete. Residential Befriendus detected. Identification. Porrim Mariam. Syncing identification with assigned missing person. Identification is a match. Desyncing Azure Fang device from electronic tracking. New mission. Contain and subdue target and proximized hazards.
The horrid giant outstretches its arms with an air of guidance that makes Porrim crouch back with a bit of a hiss.
Please stay calm. Come quietly and carefully so we may guide you back to your designated cavern, Miss Mariam.
Are you fucking kidding me? How could it track me if I turned off my house after figuring out what to do with you? Note to self. Read circuit length responses offline.
There is no need for alarm. Your safety and well-being is currently within the hands of the law.
It suddenly swipes at her like a cat. Porrim reacts with a swift dodge as the iron giant grasps the air, unfortunately distancing her from you before you had the chance to consider using what energy you could to teleport. This is bad. This tin can is trying to take Porrim back. Judging by what she told you, we can't assume that the crime of being a runaway jade would be without whatever consequence was in store. Chittering in her thorax, Porrim pulls out what looks like a container of lipstick. Is she going to decorate her features as a final hurrah of freedom?
Damn it! Come on, you stupid! Come on! Come on!
It seems as if she's having trouble, though, attempting to twist the lipstick as if she never used it more than once, while that drone approaches her. She already has the cap off. Are you missing something? Damn it. You don't have time to contemplate. You have to do something. Teleporting over to Porrim is risky as hell. You might throw out your back trying to teleport the hefty drone somewhere else. What if you teleport away and can't make it back? Is your only option to be a meat shield? You gulp, looking around for options. Aha! Running over and ignoring your vertigo, you grasp a rock and take aim. Actively antagonizing these tricky situations has helped you in the past, and while your overhand could be better, you still hit the metal skull with a satisfying clank. Hey, over here, loser! The overgrown quarterback stills, save for its dented head, and its eyes cast a roving beam of light over you in the same way that they had scanned Porrim. There are a few moments of still quiet between the three of you. The next words it suddenly bleats out sound louder.
Alert. Threat detected.
It stands rigid and straight as it turns towards you, optics pierced through your core in an unnerving juxtaposition to the patiently parental way it had tried to coax Porrim. That whiplash was unexpected. Porrim looks puzzled and meets your own befuddled expression as you back up. That rock didn't scrape off enough paint to piss it off, did it?
Criminal detected. Wanted on charges of interplanetary terrorism and alleged grubnapping of the heiress of Befriendus.
Oh. Wait, you didn't kidnap Mina. You just sort of looked like you did, with a bomb in tow. The drone looks like it's taking in new information before coming to a conclusion.
Suspect has used lethal force. Suspect spotted in unauthorized custody of missing cavern dweller. Suspect contains a previous record of, quote, sticky point stumps through abduction of royal blood.
You did what?
Well, you certainly have a resume to explain. But hey, maybe that's okay. You could just be hauled off to whatever shady authority and explain, hey, no, they got it all wrong. Mina was the one holding the bomb.
Now distributing punishment for repeated offenses and active threats against the Empire. Instant euthanization.
Okay, fair. You might have fucked up a lot, and it isn't going to be pretty. You hear Porrim gasp, but before more words can be exchanged, you're suddenly launched into something co-equal to a quick time event. You yelp as you too find yourself dodging the drone's large hand, only you're not being grabbed at. Splinters of punched-in tree bark burst like confetti next to your fallen form. Clambering up quickly, you sprint around it, but the drone is quicker this time. It keeps its weird-ass robot sensor on you and stalks forward as you keep trying to clumsily distance yourself. While you weren't expecting this thing to start fucking attacking you, it seems hell-bent on physical retaliation. You're not on Alternia anymore, and that mutilated tree could look worse, you guess. Cool, great. Nothing about this emergency protocol is overkill. A giant boulder is suddenly being hurled at your head. You holler as it craters to the ground below, kicking up dust and dirt as you trip over yourself in the commotion. This time slower to get up as you cough and sputter. Fuck, your head hurts. Where's Porrim? You got some wood chips chucked up in your throat. Boom. Your thoughts still as the twin steps land on the ground in front of you, daring you to look up. The drone peers over you like a horror monster, and you feel a sense of deja vu, save for the fact that you might actually die now. Hold up, I actually clicked out a thing. With a ragged gasp, you force yourself up as quickly as possible, but you only make it to your knees. By that time, the thing's arms have raised above its head like a foreboding mallet, and it swings. Your eyes are closed, and you take a minute or two before opening them again. The clouds of debris floating in the air alert you that you're not in the clouds above. Everything hurts, and you remember hearing a crack as you silently peer up. You're some yards away from the drone, which slowly starts to appear in the mirage of chaos it's caused. Your ribs and skull don't seem to feel crushed, nor do you feel a particular suffering of blunt trauma. The drone remains crouched over until enough of the dust clears, looking around for the target it had clearly missed. Its intended target is you, and the soldier's silhouette rises among the plumes as it slowly regains posture upon spotting your frozen form. That's not what scares you, however. What drains the blood from your face as your wide eyes travel down the drone's feet. It's the silhouette that pushed you out of the way. Her crumbled figure doesn't seem like it's moving, breathing. From your distance, and every bone in your body locks up. Porrim. Oh. No. The rodent poaches as your disturbed stare tears away from the fallen girl. Your mouth is dry, face drained as you can only think of how awfully you failed this time, backing up slowly towards the trees. You didn't even scratch the surface of Porrim's life. Heard even half of the thoughts that she had pleaded your attention for in a single conversation. At most, her ideas of change are now only carried within legacy. A legacy that you would be disruptively silenced from passing forward. The drone finally corners you again, metal arms raised for a few heartbeats before swinging down a final time. And you conclude that this was an avoidable fate.
Damn.
Wow.
Alright. Well... Oh, wait, what's this?
You're
Okay.
not dead? Holy shit!
Ha!
With a hefty elegance, Porrim shoves the drone back. The overawing strength of hulking metal is suddenly dwarfed by the fiery jades, which has the robot almost tip off balance. It beeps as if it itself were surprised at the sudden plot twist before its scanners swipe over the new incarnation of your friend, and you look too, gawking. She's glowing. As in, like, a fluorescent bulb, not to mention she is alive. The drone identifies Porrim again, as if it hadn't just smashed her like a roach. And what the hell? How did she survive that? And reaches out with a metallic palm. Instead of fumbling, Porrim actually steps forward, grabbing the robotic arm and yanking. She seems really tired of its proddy limbs. Tired and surprised at her own strength, but determined to not lose focus. Porrim drops the arm, sparks flying out of the robot and oil staining the ground before she steps up her game. The lipstick she had earlier is suddenly in her hand once more, and this time she's able to give it less fidgety attention as she twists. Is that a...
You can tell the girls back home that my well-being is none of theirs to bear. It's mine, you shitty toaster.
You're thinking of various ways to butter her up her performance as Porrim slices through the metal like foil with her angry chainsaw. The drone sputters, spewing sparks and smoke from the jagged diagonal cut dragged from its torso to up its head. Save for Porrim's shoes landing on the inky ground, there's a moment of silence that is long and deafening before the robot finally falls over with a creak, shaking the ground as it lands. You clamber up quickly, carefully, with your fragile form to give it a few nudges with your foot. You give it another. Seeing how it doesn't move, you give it a sturdy kick of revenge and whoop out in celebration. Holy shit! You two just did that. More importantly, Porrim isn't dead, and you aren't about to blubber like a snotty baby anymore. What a satisfying little conclusion to this change of events. Hey, Porrim, that was really cool.
What is this? Am I glowing?
The optimism in your relief deflates. Something is wrong. Porrim is quick to rush over to her bag, pulling out a hand mirror and observing herself. She gasps in a way that tells you that this little light show isn't on purpose.
Oh no. No. I thought those were just old mythos.
She stares off for a second, looking unsure about how she was supposed to feel. You attempt to chip in that, hey, she's alive, so that's good. You thought she had been squished under that bucket of bolts.
That's the problem. I was squished, and my neck still hurts. I'm standing right here, though, yet I'm not alive. I'm this. Rainbow drinkers? They're real?
Wait, so like a zombie? She gives you an incredulous look.
I don't know what that is, but no. Ugh, I sound ridiculous. That automated asshole killed me, and I came back as this. The signs are all there. The glow, the way I was able to flick the drone away from you. The thirst for blood I've yet to feel. What the hell?
Oh, so she's like a vampire. Okay, well, alright. You can get why she'd still be stunned. Knowing you died and then came back kinda undead seems like a bit of a culture shock. You're still staring yourself. But hey, she's here, which means she can still keep striving towards her goal about the whole rebellion thing. Porrim turns, shoulders shaking as she snaps at you in exasperation.
You don't get it! I can't just do everything like I planned now. I was going to make plans with people, be in secrecy. Being this thing wasn't part of it. Ugh, how the hell do I turn this glowing off?
You're paused, and Porrim catches your confusion before she breathes out, trying to stay calm.
Rainbow drinkers are a kind of urban legend. They're said to live off the blood of others and to harbor strength leagues ahead of the normal jade. They're seen as monsters, and while I know who I truly am, others won't. Do you know how hard it will be to gain alliance with someone who would be quicker to run away? Let alone the fact that, what if I have to start doing the blood thing?
She swallows.
Not to mention that if they caught me, they might not even send me back to the caverns. This is strange and freaky. I'm a freak to them. Something they can't understand. Hell, I don't understand. And if they don't decide to poke and prod at me at the institutions, then I wouldn't put it past them to treat me like a grub being put out of my misery. I can see the headlines now. A scapy jade with drinker serum coating destroys property and attacks trolls in a crazed frenzy. A crazed jade up for euthanization. The perfect cover-up. I could be exaggerating, but I don't think I am. Those CIPs would pull out any excuse to keep their stay at Hive Jewels in check.
You're trying to figure out words to say, but you can't. You don't get this world, and you're only starting to figure out that it isn't all that it seems. Even if it isn't the literal cutthroat harshness of Alternia, Porrim could be assuming the worst, but maybe she isn't. What do you know anyways? She just died. How do you provide all-knowing comfort for something like that?
Ugh, I don't even know how these drones work. That thing could have been recording me the whole time, live. I might be on their radar now. They could be sending more. Which means I can't stay here.
That crestfallen look on her returns. She glances at the ground.
I have to go now.
Wait, no. This wasn't how this was supposed to end. Porrim is already packing her things completely now, and you once more fumble. You're starting to realize that this is your fault, too. She had everything down pat, and you just had to fuck it up for the both of you. Wait, you tell her. She shouldn't have to go through this alone. Does she have another plan already? You could help. You're sorry. She gives a moment of pause, squeezing the strap of her bag before she looks back with a tight smile.
Don't apologize. Maybe this was merely a sign that my stupid need to coddle finally got the best of me. Not that I was going to leave you to die, but I should have stuck to the essentials and let you on your way without the fluff. I suppose I can use the experience to do better in the future if things don't get cut short with my plans. But between the two of us, having to deal with a liability is work.
She gives you a look.
So, I'd prefer to get taken down myself than risking the both of us. Thank you for at least humoring my previous plans. And stay here until the sun lowers, please. You've been a good friend. Goodbye.
You feel ill. With that, she turns, and you want to follow her into the burning sun that casts reflection on her lightened form, but you're still not doing so hot. You don't want to become hotter under the scorch. That leaves you here by this now lonely cave. The cloud of debris faded. Hopefully, Porrim will at least keep contact with others on her phone still, but damn it. It shouldn't have to be this complex. It shouldn't have happened. You should have just waited a bit longer before overestimating yourself again. You didn't, though. And the hope that a distance itself in Porrim's eyes makes your heart ache. Your stupidity has just destroyed this girl's plans for a smoother revolt. The word friend echoes through your head. You feel like this should be a victory, but your optimism is suffocated in guilt. The claim of such a title feels cheap and unearned. Last you checked, friends don't ruin each other's lives. Oh.
Wow.
Damn. I guess we're gonna go back and get the other path.
Yeah.
Also, thank
y'all
you.
feeling?
Holy shit! Thank you, Alien. This is really fun to narrate.
Yeah, goddamn.
I'm sitting at like one of those like rolly office chairs, petting my cat evilly.
Oh, this is really good, Crow. All right. Let me know when you're ready to take the other path.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Yeah.
Alright. Stay until night. The last time you overestimated yourself taught you a lesson, and it'd be smart to play it safe this time around. Plus, it comes with the bonus of giving Porrim some company before she departs. Maybe after a bit of a nap, though. It's still waking hours, but it'd probably do you best to keep sleeping off whatever remains of your illness, even if her help did make you feel a little better. Her shoulders untense.
Agreed. It's ultimately up to you, though I'm glad you're making the wiser choice. The daytime isn't kind to any. Well, except me.
It's not a slight so much as a humorous fact, and she smiles warmly.
I'll keep a lookout for a little while before resting too. Sneaking around while everyone else is usually asleep has its toll. I may consider this one of my cheat days.
You give her a thumbs up, fluffing the pillow provided to you before you lay on it. Porrim goes back to practicing on her sewing patch while you begin to get some shut-eye. Content next to the fire, relaxed. You take it that you both are in a better place than when you started. Recovery makes you a heavy sleeper, and you assume Porrim is too when given the chance to actually sleep normally. You at least trust that fact when you aren't stirred when something similar to thuds overhead tickles your semi-conscious ears. You feel the thumps, but they're not above and beyond like a distant bird. It's nothing to fret over. By the time you finally stir momentarily, the noise is gone. Brushing off the slight alarm, you hit the metaphorical snooze button and drift again. You wake up on your back, blinking blearily. This time when you rise up, there's a strength in your limbs and a tamed blood rush. You're actually able to stretch and give a proper yawn as you glance over to Porrim. She's making herself busy gliding a needle through the seams of your hoodie.
Oh, I forgot for a second. Haha. Oh, good dusk. Did you have a kind slumber?
You beam. Hell yeah, you did. You feel reborn and not dying, which is a step in the right direction. She chuckles faintly, only pausing when you glance back at her handiwork, slightly flustered as she picks up the needle in her hand.
Yeah, I hope you don't mind, though I should have asked before meddling with your things. The fabric was a little more than ruined, and I happen to have black wool on me. Could I have just closed up the tears rather than replaced the entire sleeve? Absolutely not. It's been ages since I've had the opportunity to practice.
Oh yeah, it's fine. You'd have to be dense to feel like it was a bigger bother than whatever dirt and mothballs are on it.
I'd rather not sew with thorns on my lap, thanks.
Sweet. Porrim gestures at the food plate and cup next to you. She probably gathered the fruit slices and muscle beast jerky before you woke up, and you lick your lips. Water has never looked tastier.
It's not much, but I figure that you'll eventually find your own things once you're out of here. I'm not going full survivor mode, but my own rations will only last as long as I feel like not sneaking into town for a good burger. I'll refrain from looting the overcompensating Violet caterers.
A reasonable enough choice. You do mention that Porrim shifts eye contact with you upon mentioning your you do notice that Porrim shifts eye contact with you upon mentioning your eventual departure. You suppose it is bittersweet that she'll be alone in here again, outside of the contacts on her husk.
I'll try to not take too long on this.
As you eat your breakfast for dinner, she picks at her tools again in thought. And that gets you thinking too. You don't want to part as strangers, even with the small talk prior. So considering everything, you don't have to keep it small. Yes, you do need to leave tonight, but that doesn't mean right away, yeah? Porrim seems like she has a good head on her shoulders, and depending on how long her journey goes for, it may be a while before she finds someone else to open up to in conversation like this. Or at least conversation that feels like she's talking with someone versus being talked at. Swallowing some meat, you pause before shifting where you sit, and let out a gasp, catching her attention.
What is it?
Oh, ouchie ouch. Damn, you still feel stupidly sore. Maybe your bones are still waking up. Oh, darn it all. It seems like you'll still need a few hours before you get up and start bumbling into more carnivorous leaves. Your dramatic performance leaves Porrim blinking owlishly. Then, her expression softens and she hums faintly, almost as if she wanted to laugh.
Yes, Are you serious? I suppose your recovery will need a bit more time before we're sure you can walk properly. Your new and very much real injuries seem severe. It's no burden on me, though if you're going to have some extended time here, then you must let me in on knowing that why your species is so physically unequipped.
Her lips are a vague smile as she lays down her needle, and you pat yourself on the back for your efficient performance. Mentally, so you're not too weird about it. As you turn back to her with self-determined admiration, a wet rag smacks into your face.
Although, if you are cleaning the plates, I'm not sure if you've ever traveled with dirty nutrition wear in your backpack, but I haven't, and don't intend to start. Make sure to not leave any specks.
Ah, that's fair. Tender or not, your arm wasn't exactly out of commission. You hastily grab some of the extra containers of water nearby and get scrubbing. It seems like you're going to be here for a bit longer, so in the meantime, a little small talk wouldn't hurt.
Option!
Oh my goodness.
Alright, so here's the deal. Choose your most interested 3.
Okay. What do we want to do?
I mean, I guess there's 3 of us actually, so
There are 3 of us. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
what do you
pick
want to
one.
do?
I want to pick hey, cool tattoos.
Alright.
Small talk. Ah, her tattoos. Not to be weird, but you noticed that they existed when she had previously checked her gauze, just below her collarbone. You're surprised something that, with the way she talked about her duties, such an occupation would allow body paint on the job.
Thanks. They're simple, but admittedly one of my more shameless acts of defiance. Shamelessly stylish, that is. I plan to get more.
Fair. You can only assume that the meaning behind them is something simple enough that is a starting point, since you admittedly couldn't quite put a finger on what they represent.
Actually, they're based on a curved ruler, the one said to have originated on one of Befriendus' old islands. According to things I've read, they represent equity and fairness, obviously things that I stand for. Just as the tool fits itself again, the ruler shapes itself coolly in a way that gives featured measurement from adjusting itself. Plus, I didn't feel like permanently marking my body with something impulsively thought out, like a gaudy expression. The meaning is really deep.
So she got a tattoo of measuring tape.
Of a message. Thank you very much.
Nice. That was
yes.
the lesbian. That was the
Lesbian
sapphic.
ruler. Yeah.
Yeah, once we get to the end, I will thoroughly dig into that. You
Okay.
Bucky, what do you want to do?
How did you run away?
I snuck out. Or, well, I use the advantage of being constantly outside. Most Jades stay in the caverns, though a few of us get the privilege of getting resources from outside. By privilege, I'm referring to those of us who they didn't really think were as adequate to take care of grubs and wigglers. They didn't say that, but we knew. After they decided I was a menace, they gave me that duty. I did it for a while, though mostly so I could scope the area before going out one day and not coming back. I was reasonably seen as doing my duties all day, and for them, being out of sight and out of mind was more a blessing than a concern. Going the night after undetected was no issue. We're terrible at staying awake when others are. I made sure my earlier trips to take things one by one so no one noticed anything, which is how I got a good handful here.
She gestures at the supplies leaned against the wall.
Once I start going a bit further, there's no going back.
So, she's not staying in here. Actually, wait, yeah. Rhetorically stupid question. Of course she's not going to loiter in this dusty den. It doesn't seem her style, nor even the style of most trolls on the planet, that seemed a little more advanced than you often gave it credit for. They have buildings inside caves, for Pete's sake.
I don't know who Pete is, but it's only been a few nights. This is temporary shelter at best for at least one more night, since it's a deep enough home for Lucii by definition, not trolls.
Well, at least she has a plan. And hey, if for whatever reason she had to turn tail and head back, she could say that she very much got ambushed by a bear, or got stung by a venomous plant.
Look, well, oh, there we go. There. If I have to be honest, I'd rather they find me than look like I just about died on a nature trail. No offense.
Hey, nearly going out flower style isn't something you would want people to know either. Porrim and you take a quick moment to swear secrecy on your blunder, even if you're sure Rania is already in on the joke. That being you.
Yay! And now I get to choose.
You do.
Let's see. Oh god, I forgot not to toot my own horn, but I did a lot of good options. Let's see. Fuck. I mean, I guess we could all obviously go back and read the others. Let's do how did you score this cave? It's actually a den. I stole it from a grizzle beast.
Holy shit! Well, you knew at this point that trolls were capable of power strides, but that must have been a lot of fluff and claws to wrestle.
Huh? Oh no, I didn't hurt the thing. Jades are usually taught how to corral Lucii when they have tantrums in the caverns. It was nothing really. I gave her a fish from the stream in trade.
You stare at Porrim, who continues to sew as if pacifying an entire bear was any less badass. Porrim and you spend a few hours loitering and talking. By the end of it, she's found an excuse to remake both of your sleeves, just so the fabrics don't contrast too much, and she flat out replaces the mothballs she failed to get. As much as you would love to find more excuses to hang out, it's probably best for you to get on your way, and so Porrim is able to figure out which paths to take, metaphorical or otherwise. Standing up, you wobble for a second before going still, and with the lack of dizziness, you beam. Hell yeah, you feel way better than you did when dying.
I'm glad to see the recovery went pretty well. Just look before you leap next time, okay?
Yes, ma'am. You give a nod as she hands you back your hoodie. She did a fine job making the sleeves shine. As you slip the thing back on, your arms instinctively go into your pockets, where you feel something crinkle against your palm. Your confusion is answered as to reach in and take out a piece of paper that reads out, a handle? Porrim's handle specifically, as you glance at her, the troll shrugging.
I can't turn my signal on for the moment. Never know when a drone might sync to it. Make sure that you give Arania a verbal hello from me. And well, don't be a stranger. It can be an emergency contact, or a casual one. It may be a hot second before we see each other again, but it'll all depend. I don't always like relying on others, but if I have to couch hop with some friends, I will. That may include you if we meet up anytime soon enough.
It takes you a moment to pick up what Porrim is dropping, and you give her a parted look before melting into a grin, the girl returning it. This friendship felt especially fulfilling to finally achieve, and the best part was that you felt like Porrim had achieved one of her own. Wherever her shoes take her, it was certain that she knew what she needed to do with her life, and what she was going to try achieving on her own terms. The ability to care and this planet's way of twisting it were beyond each other's comprehension, but you knew which came out on top. Both of you did, and for certain you'd let Porrim know that friendship and empathy was a two-way street. You'll let her know the next time you pop back in as proof.
Yeehaw! Yeehaw!
Ah, yeehaw.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw. And if you want to do the diary, I'm going to have to read off your screen again.
Okay.
'Cause-
Oh yeah. Remember first though, we also got to do the other options.
You want to do the other options?
Yeah.
Alright.
Because we chose 3 out of 5. We got 2 more. Time to stay until night.
What do
and then
you-
control?
Alright, which one are we going to do first? What do you want to do in the future?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
All right. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Cool. Okay. Well,
She briefly glances down at her handiwork, checking the seams as she mutters.
fashion, probably. I like it enough. It's a good starting point. Obviously, like most things, I got the skill to sew in the caverns, but one time I went to one of the cavern libraries and found a book on things to thread, like dresses and tops. I mean, how was this hiding under my nose the whole time? Do you know how much silk we have lying around that could be made into the prettiest ball block gown? A lot. That's the correct answer. Again, it's just a dream, but hey, maybe that'll be a bit of a pet project during my traveling.
Oh, that'd be an idea. Though that'd certainly be a lot to carry.
True, and they'd be a trail if I left them. Black hoodie seems to be a good test drive. Just count yourself lucky I didn't turn it into a fashionable crop top. Though you don't wear pants, so never mind ×2 on that.
Alright, and then is that a chainsaw, right?
Yep.
She smirks a little, as if proud, which she most definitely is as she sits up a bit straighter, jabbing her thumb in its direction.
It is. They really suck at informing traveling jades about the undead that limp around, probably on purpose. Naturally, I needed some self-defense, though they don't come easy to find. Not that I'm not capable alone, but you never know what those things are carrying. A little black marketing here, a little there, details.
Yeesh, you're lucky you didn't run into any of those then. The idea of Befriendus having zombies on their own surprises you. But then again, it's not like the layout is much different, societal bigotry aside.
Yeah, there's not much to do about them, but alas, perhaps exterminating them, though I'm sure they'd want us to see how redeemable parasitic corpses are before we'd think about not doing that.
You nod, wondering to yourself if a zombie would have taken you out quicker than the plant, or if they could have taken each other out. Plants versus zombies.
And
Alright,
we're done.
and we're done.
Yay.
Yay.
I am
Very
hard.
cool.
Hell yeah.